afterward. They definitely looked like a couple. I see. Leave the rest to me, I said, trying to calm Julia down. My own daughter had witnessed her father's infidelity firsthand. And sadly, the misfortune continued thereafter. After hearing the detailed report on Daniel's infidelity from the investigator the next day, I returned home to find Julia in tears. Unexpectedly, Daniel, who usually doesn't come home until around 10 p.m., was already at home. Upon seeing me, he immediately exclaimed, "I intend to divorce you. It's because you can't properly raise our daughter and are having an affair with another man. It's only natural for me to leave you, right?" I couldn't grasp the meaning of his words immediately. However, seeing Julia crying after receiving harsh words from him, I quickly went to her and confronted Daniel. "What infidelity are you talking about? What do you want to accomplish by making our daughter cry? Her beloved mother has been dating men other than her husband during the day, so I told her that it's morally wrong." When she retorted that I was the one who's unacceptable as a person, I scolded her and fulfilled my duty as a father, he said. Julia's cheeks were red. I couldn't stay in that place any longer. Feeling this, I hugged Julia tightly while Daniel looked on smugly. "You have 3 days to leave this house. Once the deadline passes, I will use whatever means necessary to drive you out of this house. Be prepared for that," he declared forcefully. His voice was full of confidence, knowing well that we couldn't physically oppose him. He swung his arms with more vigor, laughed unpleasantly, and left the house. Left behind, Julia, with tears in her eyes, suggested, "We have to tell Grandma and Grandpa right away." She was referring to Daniel's parents, my in-laws. I have a relatively good relationship with them, and they have always adored Julia deeply since she was born. It's easy to imagine how furious they would be if they learned that Julia had been harmed by Daniel. Julia intuitively understood this fact and decided that we should act immediately. So, I quickly contacted my in-laws, asking them to come to our house as soon as possible without Daniel knowing. They promised to rush over after hearing about our urgent situation. When they arrived and saw Julia's tear-streaked, reddened cheeks, they were shocked. "Such a thing. Who did this to Julia?" they exclaimed. When my mother-in-law asked, Julia, holding back tears, answered, "Dad did. He said he saw Mom meeting with another man during the day and called Mom a bad woman for having an affair. When I denied it, such a thing." My in-laws were astonished and started to take care of Julia alongside me, eager to hear the full story from me. I honestly told them that I suspected Daniel might be having an affair and had hired a detective agency to investigate. The man I met that afternoon was the investigator giving me the report on the infidelity. And Daniel. My father-in-law continued. "Actually, it seems Daniel is currently involved with 3 women. One of them is a coworker whom he meets on Mondays and Wednesdays. Another is a college student whom he meets on Tuesdays, Fridays, and Sundays. The last woman is a married childhood friend whom he meets on Thursdays and Saturdays," I revealed. Hearing this, my in-laws were dumbstruck, gripping their heads in disbelief. While they considered the possibility of Daniel cheating, they never imagined he would be involved with 3 women simultaneously. Julia said, "I saw Dad on Saturday, arm in arm with a woman I didn't recognize. So, I knew Dad was involved with someone else." Neither Julia nor I could have imagined that Daniel was cheating with 3 women. When I received the report, I was so shocked that I lost my words. I received the report at a cafe, and it seems Daniel himself or someone he knows witnessed this and misunderstood it as me having an affair. Yet, for him to suspect his wife of infidelity, react violently, and lash out at an innocent daughter. I intend to divorce Daniel. Of course, I will take custody of Julia. I cannot leave her with someone who hurts her. That's... My in-laws' expression stiffened for a moment at the thought of not being able to see their granddaughter freely if the divorce went through and I took custody. However, they quickly showed understanding. So, Julia would be happier with her mother than her father. She's in high school and old enough to choose which parent she wants to live with. Let her do as she wishes, they kindly said. Perhaps they realized that their son was incapable of raising Julia properly. At that point, I shared a certain fact with my in-laws. After telling my in-laws that Daniel had ordered Julia and me to leave the house, they exchanged looks and sighed deeply. We are truly sorry. We are ashamed of our son, they said, bowing their heads in apology. No, it's not your fault. It's just that he has gone mad because of his affairs. It has nothing to do with you. I comforted them, shaking my head.